So there's something wrong. I'm all looking up here. Firebot. I'm like, all right, when's the ad break over? Ad break, 55 minutes. Oh, it's done. Duh. Hi, Sultry. Yeah. Actually, how good is the camera? Let's see here. Can't really see. Ha! Good. I mean, I know they're there, but, whatever. So, how's everybody doing on Monday? Who's out there Mondaying? Everybody. Yeah, you didn't have to work today. Sorry, day off with dead battery. That was fun. Cute guy gave me flowers. Am I gonna need to get jealous? Oh, okay, that's a little bit different, Tut. Having a 5-year-old battery in this kind of weather. You know what? I got a great Tut since you content to create a little bit. I got it. You ready? Yeah, it felt like 18 degrees this morning when I was going into work. It was cold. So I got a funny little sultry. It is freezing here. Not the snow, not the ice, nothing like that. It's just cold. And I'm not talking like, oh no, it's like 40 degrees. Like, no, I'm talking like in the teens. Hold on. Let's see here. Oh wow, it's actually warm. It's 4 degrees right now. Feels like 36. It's gonna get down to 23 tonight. Tomorrow's high is 46 with low of 23. It's been that cold. Actually, it's getting warmer. It was colder the last couple days. You know what the best part is, though? Humidity is only 27%. And guess what? No pollen. Yeah. Yep. Those suckers attacked. Oh, the bots are gone. One was actually called Frozen Edges bot. Maybe four because my back has been itching, but I can't see if it's a bot or just me. I'm assuming you didn't check the mirror. I mean, you could have just asked me. Yeah, let me put my hand on your back. I've been so chilly that my hands are changing color. You know, when you're really cold and your pigment kind of pales. Yeah. Yep. Tut, I got it. You're not pale. It's just cold. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. I thought it was funny. How am I liking Pies of Lee? It's fun. I accidentally told a lie already, though. It was timed, and so I told a lie. Oh, well, I guess I'm lying. There was one dialogue choice that I just backed out of. I didn't make it. I just went, escape. Or no, I pressed B, and it let me out of it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. No, but I like the combat so far. The dodging I've got to get used to. Um, I think I'm going to work on parrying a lot. Or perfect blocks, whatever they call them. Did you see the other day how far I got in like 2 hours? And yes, I do have more water. Don't worry. clean up here. I've kind of slowly just let my workstation kind of go. And I need to clean up. No, Liza P is really good. Yep. So far, I have had in just water today, not counting anything else like coffee, but just pure. I should say purely water. Only water. I've had maybe about a liter. Well over a liter of water. Yeah. Uh-oh, Yugo's on a 7-watch streak. Speaking of watches, Hugo, have I showed you my watch? Have I showed you my sweet watch that I got when I was best man in a wedding? This thing is sweet. So that's how long the chain is. So I'm holding the chain at the top. How cool is that? I do go next on no streak. Yep. I've had that watch. Goodness. For about 12 years? Yeah. Yes, you are. But I don't know that you show up every day. I had one that had a gold eagle against a black background. That's cool. You really gonna blow all of your channel points on that? That's kind of sad. Yeah, but do you want to use all of them on that? What about the next game that I play? What if there's something like that in the game? Like, what if there's a pretty pink, like, I don't know, tiara? Then I will hack my way into more points. No. Who's Alidoro? No. Then I'll make sure he never gets a chocolate chip cheesecake again. It's not that deep.
Here it is. Venigni works. Everything you see here belongs to Venigni, the classiest playboy and most brilliant inventor in Krat. Just ask him. Not just puppets. Almost every machine and tram in Krat is supplied from here. You gotta be curious about the guy. What kind of person is he? Wish we could find him. That is.
Oh, that's creepy. Ooh, sharp pipe. Miracle cure? It's a ring, isn't it? Excuse me. Oh, well, I missed what it said there. Well, that's something. That'll really grind your gears, won't it? Alright, let's do this. Oh, lag. Oh, I gave him the wheel! Oh, right. You know what? Yeet. Oh! No. That was rude. I really gotta get used to this style of like using items. What happened to the pipe? He keeps it piping hot. Oh, nope. Don't want to miss this. Thank you. Hey, buddy. Bye, buddy. Vivid Ergo. What? Aww. Oh, hey, I can jump like in Dark Souls. Nice, I got the Dark Souls jump. Ready for this? Yeah. Alright, here we go again. Uh-oh. Man, invisible walls. Invisible wheels. Yeah. I really like that attack chain. The air doesn't open. Yeah, basically. This is not free roam. He takes the wheel. Yeah, buddy. Back there. Hey! Hey now. Somebody could get hurt. It's me. I'm somebody. Okay. Hey, that was close. It was pretty close, like, to the face. Mm. Did I get any new outfits? Oh, I did, but Now, are my weapons comparable in damage yet? Ooh, it actually does less damage now. Look. Alright, I can use it. I don't feel like I'm cheating when the DLC weapon does less damage than my stuff. Because, like, this weapon does more damage. So yeah, I don't feel as bad now. I'll use it. This thing has terrible tracking. Look at this. Oh, that's so cool. Ah. Okay. I get used to this weapon now. Okay, so the double hit in the second swing. Oh, this weapon's... That's cool. Man! This is pretty cool. Nope. Yep. Ow. I got with the bomb. Oh crap, I forgot every hit that I take I lose stuff. Ah, I died. And I lost those. Lame. Lame. I blame it on learning a new weapon. Yeah. Have you tried... Have I tired not dying? I'm gonna be nice, Tut. It's the rule of cool. So, I don't know how I feel about the crit. It's neat. It's called staying alive, so you stay alive to the end of the game. Wow. Oh! I could have blocked that. That's pretty cool. Oh. No. So what's it do? Okay, so deflect, counterattack, and storm slash. So did I just not use that at the right time? So I ate it. Going home. That would be a neat little secret there. Oh, I got a chain. So I guess up to this point it was off the chain. Chicken swung powerfully, inflicts strike damage to anyone in the area, spins around enemies that it hits. Sometimes simple is the most effective. True. Let's go here, take some 14 vitality. Actually, what does this thing level the most? 4, 3. Okay. Hey! What's up, Kate? It's going. Nope, not enough. You might say it's off the chain. So I already died twice tonight. Just getting here. Also, this weapon no longer does more damage than my main weapon, so I'm trying it out. Because I don't feel like I'm cheating. Oh, what? Yeah. Yeah. I do like this weapon a lot. It's flashy, but it's not broken. If that makes sense. Oh. Not enough ergo. How about we have enough ergo? See, it's the second attack that I don't like the double swing. Ooh, third eye. What's up, Vac? No, do the. Oh, no, thanks. Oh, you punk. It's going, man. I'm trying out the glaive. And so far, I am really... Ooh. Nope. We're gonna look around a little bit first. Door does not open from this side. Ah! Sorry, I really just don't like that message. Okay, Electric Blitz is effective for subduing puppets. Get out if you're not a stalker. its dim ergo fragments. Was ist? Before we go down there, though, I want to look over here.
This place gives me the creeps. It's like something's gonna jump out any second. It's okay, pal. Gemini's looking out for you.
Your own buddy hits you in the back. Ooh, what a throw! Oh, what the? Okay, game. That was brilliant. I'm a little mad, but it was good. No! Oh yes, chain backstabs. Belford shock cartridge. You're gonna drop down, aren't you? Dear Mr. Venigni, as per your orders, I conducted a quality investigation on the ergo supplied by the alchemist. Of course, it was done secretly. Certainly, the quality of ergo was getting worse over time. I don't doubt the alchemists, but the decrease in quality is too widespread to call it a coincidence. At this rate, this quarter's puppets will have a high chance of defects. The most important thing is the quality of the ergo, after all. According to a reliable source, the high-level alchemists are running ergo production experiments lately using another method. Personally, I think their secret experiments have something to do with the decrease in ergo quality. Are they wringing out the bodies of discarded puppets in the barren swamp or something? Anyway, I recommend approaching them carefully instead of complaining to them. Manager of Factory 1, Nicola. It's so nice to have this shortcut. Banshee. Oh. Change up. No. Aw, man. You made a hole in the ground. You made an enemy in the ground. Hey, it's the doors. Yeah, buddy.
Oh yeah, totally! Get his kid's giant dead body! I'm being sarcastic! Of course I'm being sarcastic!
Man. Oh yeah. That was a cool enemy. We need to get you. Wait, what? Yeah, Hugo, it is a very good one. You have a crock pot? Oh, yeah, totally. I'm working on hours. Family is at work, so I get around here at 4 a.m. Yeah. No, it's true, though. It fits so well. Get one. Ah, yes. Slow-cooked barbecue. Yum. Oh, there's a butterfly nearby. Motivity crank. Crank is a bit of workshop on fine just weapon handles. Ooh, okay. The nice thing is, you don't have to specify. I think the channel got copyright spiked. Wait, what? Oh, the YouTube channel that you're talking about? Maybe. Jaeger bombastic. Maybe. Summer says hello, everyone. She just barreled into me with her dog toy. Hi, Starburst. That's for the dude with the big bolas. Yeah, didn't they get a different kind of strike? It wasn't a parity protection. They got something else. Oh! Ow, what the? Anyone get the number of that bus? Oh, this is gonna hurt. Ow. Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, man. What's the good news? Nope. Episode on that. Even got Nostalgic Critic. Yeah, Nostalgic Critic to narrate. That one's bad. Yay! I pushed a button. Bye. So got some blood work done. Last time A1C was 10.5. Oh, that's fantastic. 5.3, that's wonderful. That is a massive... massive difference. You have good and bad news. All right. Ooh. Kidneys are showing signs of repairing themselves. Double good news. All right, you go hit me. What you got?
seem to follow me everywhere.
Aren't you a foxy lady?
Pleased to see you, my stalker friend.
You made it all the way here unbothered by ruffians.
Oh.
You've got talent. I've never seen you before, but who cares?
This may well benefit our former client. Did you catch that subtle whiff of money in the air? Moneybags himself, Lorenzini Venigni, is inside this factory this very moment.
You caught us on our return trip. We had to deny his ridiculous request in person just to be sure it wasn't a joke. All we could do was laugh.
Keep your whiskers up if you're heading in there. He is the richest man in Krat. Or so they say. Who knows? Maybe he's handing out bags of money to lift his spirits.
Ha! That seems
That's good.
unlikely. No way are we doing that.
Well, anyhow, best of luck.
Thanks. So what's the good news? That was clean. Oh look, it's the other side. Didn't work. Aw. I'm sorry, Vac. Heartbreak for anybody. Good news is I finally beat Resident Evil 1 DualShock Edition last night. At least Chris's campaign. Nicely done. Nicely done, because that is not something you'll probably catch me doing. Yeah, been there. I've been there. And the sad thing is, it probably is true. Yeah, better than being you. There's truth. It's not me, it's you. Remake that one in the third person. See, I don't know. I'm not a... Personally, and I'm not... This is not dissing on any of you guys' enjoyment. I don't really enjoy Resident Evil. I played 4 and it was okay. Like, I had fun. I played 5 with a friend in co-op and that was fine. But Resident Evil just isn't my cup of tea. Nope. I saw that just a little... What the... The first remake is so well received as possibly the best remake of all time that I don't think that it warrants a 3D remake. I have a sick fascination with the Resident Evil series. And like I said, you can like it. It's okay. It's just not my thing. Oh. I pushed the button. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. Stop it. This weapon has such great range. Sword Master's Amulet? Yes, please. Increases damage inflicted on puppets. Reduces weapon durability consumption. That's not bad. But I have no problem just going. Hi.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Are you carrying the latest edition of Venigni's Landmark Guide? It's the most popular non-fiction work in Krat these days. Maduro wrote the actual guide, but Venigni published and financed it. It goes for a premium at the shop, but Maduro might not get his cut. He went missing recently, which of course made that volume more popular than ever. If you can get all 3 volumes collectors want, bet you can get 4. No, 5,000 for it at the shop. But you're in luck. I have a conscience and a powerful sense of self-preservation. I'll let this one go for 500. That's a good investment. Don't sleep through it. You'll wish you had this, and the price is a steal.
500 what? Yeah. Okay. So, it's kind of funny how much people think Resident Evil 4 is too action-based to be a classic RE game, whenever all they really need to change, all they did was change the cameras and remove the item limits. Added quick time events, but I can also see there's a progression from 2 to 3. It would be neat to see a third-person mode, but I don't know. I feel like first-person adds to the horror, like, immediately in a game. Ooh, hello. Like, okay, just for example, imagine playing this first-person. You know how much harder that is? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Hugo. Pull the lever! I pulled it.
Oh, fantastic. The pipe fit like a glove. Well, like a pipe that fit. Idioms, you know?
I fixed it. There's new Souls like coming out as first person. What? I'm gonna get this attack once. Nope. Oh, you know what? Nope. No, we're not doing this. No, we're not doing it. Doing that. Get over there. Yep. Okay. Woo! You know, I think I do want to get a little bit of this, because what if I get a firearm? Or no, do I want a little more health? No, we're down to 13 health. Capacity gives me more carry weight. still under 60, so I'm fine on that. Let's do more stamina, so I can do more attacks. Now, I want to look at... I've got this fire axe. I want to try this weapon. Oh, look! Guys! Looks like a firefighter's axe. Announcement of the Game Awards? But I want to be another Krat's Treasure first. There are 2 Souls games you need to see. Man, this is slow. It's really slow. Alright. Doesn't do fire damage. See what this looks like. What? The crit on that was sick. Valor Mortis. Oh yeah, we looked at that one. Second's Decrepit. First person blood. Yeah, I gotta check that out.
It's time to paint
Hush.
the town blue.
No. No. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Hugo. I'm gonna check those out. Now, Valor Mortis, we looked at already. What's the damage on this one? Okay, so this is blunt. I was really hoping this did fire damage. Wait a minute. Oh, this is a technique weapon. Okay, there's a quality weapon, strength weapon, and this is a... That's why. Okay. Why would it not? It says fire axe, not fireman's axe. What the heck is corruption? Well, I don't like that. It is really, really well thought out. How much damage do we do? I mean, okay, it's not bad. So I need to find a way to drain the corruption out of there. Aha. probably can't make that jump. Kate, I do not own the DLCs. Well, here goes nothing. Yeah, this dude jumps like... Never mind. Like a dwarf. Am I interested in the Jedi games? I played... Okay. So I played Jedi Survivor, the first one. I didn't finish it. Was it fun? Yes. Did I finish it? No. Fallen Order, yes, that's the one. I played Fallen Order. It was neat. I liked the game. I had fun with it. I would even say, like, Link probably jumps further. You know, as cool as this weapon is... Oh! Well, we're using this now. We are using this now! Come here. Oh, that's cool. Okay, what is this? Booster glaive handle. It is a great sword. That is a technique weapon. Ugh. I struggled a bit to finish Survivor. It's good, but a lot more content and it's janky performance. I hear the PC port is not great. A lot of those have been terrible, dude. That's the sad thing. Just hold the phone. So the handle determines... Okay. Hey, what's up, Peril? Played Survivor in the late 24, and apparently it's been fine since then. They removed the pointless anti-cheat. Yeah, why would you have anti-cheat on a single-player game? Like, seriously. Okay, so blade determines the speed, the handle determines the moveset and stat scaling. Okay, so let's do... Oh, that checks out. Okay, so this says fire axe. It does not say fireman's axe, Kate. Just saying. UE5 wants to be a universal game engine, but it doesn't do great with open world areas. No reason version 5, but people keep saying it's the devs, not the engine's fault. I think I want to use just the way it is. Yeah, it has. It very much has. funk. Yeah. Called it. Man, this one looks so cool. Hi, Cass. What's up, dude? But let's go back to work. I assume you might be done streaming by the time I get back, so have fun stream game. Have a good night. Kate, it's really good to see you, man. Be well, have a great night. Love you, mean it. Be safe. Be well. As Tug likes to say, be respected. I don't hate Unreal, but I strongly prefer in-house game engines. Yeah! Let me tell you what company knows how to get some of the best engine that's out there. Oh, crap. You know which company? You don't know which one? Nice. Get swole. My name is Clark Shore. People call me Dr. Cure-All. I intend to confess my sins. I made innumerable medicine sales under the guise of it being a cure-all. At first, even I was sure about my experiment. Early on, the cure really was effective in neutralizing the petrification disease. And why would the great alchemist records be wrong? I know I stole it, but I perfectly followed the manufacturing process. My cure was perfect. But what was wrong? I dare not record what the ones who got treatment turned into. That was literally hell. And when I realized that I was the gatekeeper who opened the doors, I ran away. How could I atone for my sin? I only tried to treat patients and earn a few extra coins. I'm dying, and this is my penitence. I also have the petrification disease, but I'm not getting the cure. I'd rather turn to stone and freeze to death. God, please forgive my terrible sins. Let's see. They really were great for giving good look in field-specific games. Decima, Dunya, Frostbite, Crytek, Source, ID Tech, even Red Engine was neat. No, the company that I think has a fantastic engine, Digital Extremes.
For my sins, I must kill more puppets. More. All puppets must die. Every single one. I hear the sound of springs inside you. You're a puppet too. You can't fool me. All puppets must die. Kill the puppets.
Can I not fight this guy?
I wish I'd known. But survival is a hell of its own.
If I dodge this guy long enough, he'll just tire and I don't have to kill him. Can we just talk? Yeah. They really did great with lighting, the ragdoll physics. Sadly, you lost the ragdoll with latest versions of BioShock.
I can't tell what's blood and what's oil.
Oh, dude. All right, fine.
I can't tell what's blood and what's oil.
Ooh, that was cool.
Away.
Oh, I could have had the backstab. Just be safe. That was cool. Oh. I do like the idea of, like, when they do the broken weapons thing. Now, can you chill? No, you can't.
I'm sorry, dear. I was afraid to die.
We did a great. Oh, I did that. I have all the Bioshock games. They're in my backlog. Are you playing this on the hardest difficulty, Crimp? Yes, I am. I sure am. Still think I like that one the best, but that's actually pretty sharp. Bioshock remasters are solid, but the upgrade to Unreal Engine 4 for them remove some lighting flourishes and ragdoll physics on weapons that impaled enemies. Aw, that's half the fun. That's one of the things I really enjoyed about playing Warframe, is having bows and ragdolling enemies to walls. Okay, I don't want to use that yet. Maybe I should. Yeah, I'm going to. Another thing is, at least in Xbox ports, the original Bioshock 1 and 2 games has animation locked at 30 FPS, even if you remove the FPS cap. So that only goes up by 1, but this goes up by 2. So... I don't think I do. Oh! Oh, I was on. It only goes up by 10. I can do that. At least remasters smooth out the animations. That's what I feel like most remasters should focus on. That. Don't worry about massive gameplay changes. Just do, you know, your animations. Focus on that. Oh, we got a raid? Here, let me help you guys. Finally gonna play Vault in Vegas after I beat Life is Strange. Life is Strange. I've been watching you play those, Cass. They're weird. Like, I've watched them play, but man, those games are weird. Also, I still kind of struggle with the first one. The story on that one's really dark. Life is Strange. Well, I understand the universe. Like, that one, okay, fine. like the games and just going through them, playing the newest Life is Strange game. It's, I don't know, man. It's one of those that like, it's very dark. Watched Dean's play Life is Strange 2, and I got pulled from it was White People Are Evil, the video game. It was definitely politically charged, heavy on themes of racism, police brutality, and was like, it was mirroring current events at the time. Well, Life is Strange, the first one, had a pretty straightforward story. Sure, it has, I don't want to say flair or a twist, but I mean, it does have a twist, but there's substance to it, and that substance to me is still very, it's heavy. Do you need to do headset, Banshee, or do you need? You just need a microphone.
What else is down
It's just the butterfly. Headset with a microphone. Gotcha. Yeah, sorry, I can't help you there. Yeah, it's true. You can. Phone. Sorry, guys, I'm moving the camera all around. Oh, I know you're not asking for help. Don't worry. I just meant that if I had something that I could give you, I would just give it to you. Got mine. I got them on sale on Amazon. Now, I don't have the Trinity key to open this door. Wait, how'd you spin around that fast? I have an idea. I might want to trash a game on its messaging and commentary alone, which is why I don't demand for removal of The Last of Us or Life is Strange. Other games that push commentaries, I just keep it simple and be like, yeah, not for me. Yeah, that's how I feel. Ta-da. Okay. Fallout New Vegas actually has great political and ideological commentary, which also giving the player choice to see all the different viewpoints without being ham-fisted into one or the other. This decision. Oh, no. It's time to play out Fallout New Vegas, although it will be modded, fix the bug issues. Man, nothing wrong with that. Nothing with that, dude. Guess I won't. Now, I wonder if that drained the water. And I just completely missed that. Or the corruption, you know what I mean? All season 2 of Fallout was kind of taking some creative liberties. Has been wonderful. There are so many shows my wife and I need to catch up on. I shouldn't say need, but haven't caught up on. Aha! No more corruption. Now we fight. You know, we haven't watched Fallout yet. I haven't started it. I don't know if she has any interest in that or not. We need to watch Arcane 1 and 2. I've seen 1, but I didn't know that she wanted to watch it. I didn't think she had any interest in it, so I watched the first season and found out I was wrong. And then we never watched Witcher Season 3. I know we're not really missing a lot, but it's more kind of like a just hey, we kind of want to watch it kind of a thing. Save. There we go. You know the funny thing is, Kess, I have owned Witcher 3 for longer than I've known any of you guys, except for my wife, and Tut. And I played Witcher. I know I've told the story 100 times. I played Witcher 3 until I had to play Gwent. I played Gwent, and that was it. So I make the joke that my Witcher career came in Gwent. The thing with Fallout is the whole established lore for these games isn't exactly concrete because the games were made by multiple developers. A lot of people consider 1, 2, and New Vegas to be legit canon because Obsidian is made of original Fallout devs, and I think they tried to separate that lore from Bethesda lore. Yeah, I know, right? Hilarious. I enjoyed Fallout 4. I'm excited to play New Vegas, but I'm thinking about playing 3 eventually. So I really enjoyed 4. I did all of the endings in 4, except for I didn't do the rail. Well, did I do the ending? Oh yeah. I did the Brotherhood of Steel. I did the Science Boys. Press it. Kess, I would say, how do you do how you want, but I think the best overall experience, I would start with 3. Because if you get into New Vegas, 3 is going to feel like a step back. Which, I've actually heard that a lot, Kess. Oh, I can't change the... Oh. Man. Because I was going to do this one... I played one thought, it was on PS2, and I literally fell out of the game in the map and crashed it. That's not a lie, by the way. It's kind of cool. That's gonna hurt. I don't like the options this guy has attacking. Yeah. Ooh, fire abrasive. Yay! Alright, let's try it. Try this out. Come on. Okay, I blocked there. Okay, so Blade determines that. Sadly, I think I really like the base of this the most. Like, as much as I want to like the sword handle like this, I think I do like the way it's built the best. Like each weapon, the way it comes, I think I like that. I know you enjoy both for sure, Cass, and I really look forward to watching you play them. Just make sure you turn the radio volume down to all the way to avoid copyright. I thought the music from the 40s wasn't copyrighted because it's 80 years. Am I wrong in that? I thought copyright couldn't be, because things are open source after 80 years, I thought. Or not open source, public domain. Now don't quote me on that. Look it up. I don't mind. I mean, those copyright claim. Yeah, but if they do that, that means that, Kess, you can't monetize the streams. If you have copyright, they take the money from it. All right, let's do this. That's more like it. Oh, that's cool. There's got to be a phase 2 for this. Buddy. All right, get in front. Ah. Aw, man. There we go. This is cool. Easy, but cool. Yeah, the boss fight's a lot easier when you don't have the corruption down here. All I don't know about Bethesda Fallout lore is, oh no, my family is missing. I have to find them. The bandits are coming. Oblivion remaster might be something I would consider. I never finished Oblivion. Rumor is that Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 are currently being remastered as A Tale of Two Wastelands. Din din for the win. What are you having tonight? Chicken stuffing casserole. Interessante. Yeah, so long as I'm more stable than the Oblivion remaster. Yeah. So I have the OG Oblivion and all the DLC on my Xbox. I don't get the remaster for free or at a discount, so I don't really have the motivation to get it. I mean, I don't blame you on that one. I played it enough to... I had a fun little bug.
For your information,
I didn't steal this. Okay, see, this is electric, so... Legion magazine, stuff for my Legion arm. Those are. So hold on. Oh, that's fun. See? Fire axe. Doesn't do fire damage. Electric coil stick. Does electric damage. Just saying. I'm just saying. Fallout 4 on PS5, had a good time. I played it on the Xbox One, had a good time with it. Ooh, 60 FPS boost. I'm also trying survival difficulty, and it's yes, it is. Yeah, it's super hard. I need to use that.
I know my way around a weapon.
Oh, none of my weapons are upgraded. Yeah, buddy. +0 weapons for the win. Have your strength for powerful slash attack. Hold the attack to trigger a stronger attack. Slash actually does Takes two. Okay.
Also, Kessler, New Vegas has a survival mode that it tells you that it gives you a prize at the end, but it's just an achievement. But is actually much better than the survival modes of the other games. Oh no, I'm good. I'm one of those has to play every game on the hardest difficulty. I'm not one of those has to play on the hardest difficulty. Only applies to some games.
Yeah, Banshee, I tend to do that. Like, I don't upgrade my weapons until I find one that I really like. Yep, we're still +0.
I'll use my power to help you.
Thanks, Sophia. Oh, Geppetto. Hello.
The city of Krat. It's probably not how you remember it, eh? Ask me any questions, and I'll fill in the gaps.
No.
Venigni Works is the puppet's main base. It's a factory where they manufacture more of themselves. Venigni himself went to stop them, but I'm worried. He's an industrialist, not a fighter. Rescue Venigni and shut down his factory. That will deny the puppets their reinforcements.
Okay, I did that. So he's not rescued, but... Ooh, Fable slots. Okay. No. Oh, that's dumb. Okay, so I have to choose. Okay. Alright.
Alright. Sounds harder, but it's actually more immersive in my opinion, and I love how games gives them most... Yeah, it gives most items more purpose. Yes, that it does. I take it for a PS5 or PS4. Or, I'm sorry, PS5 or Xbox. Many games, Kess. I've done several games where I don't do any upgrades. I've done... let's see. I think I've done Code Vein. I've done Salt and Sanctuary multiple times. No weapon upgrades. I beat Lords of the Fallen. No weapon upgrades. There's one more. I can't think of it. Just because it becomes obsolete doesn't mean you can't enjoy stuff. I mean, think about Manic. Almost his entire platform is on retro stuff. If you're going to play 3 New Vegas, PC and Xbox, your only bets unless you want to stream them from PlayStation Premium. God of War games at PS3. Yep.
Hello. Hello. Need the Rosa Isabella street key. I don't have it. You know what I just noticed? I beat that giant robot, and I don't think I got any item drops from it. I also haven't found Venigni, so yeah. I'm a little irked the classic God of War hasn't been ported over to new consoles. Surprisingly so. Surprisingly. beat the dude. I did the thing. I can't open the door. I don't. I'm playing one. This is my jam right here. Not even just the Souls-like, but just the hack and slashes. Really hoping to get that. Take that. Thank you very much. That's so satisfying. You like blood, gore, sex, boobs, mythologies, revenge, angry bald dudes, platforming? God of War 3. You know, I really can't really argue. That's God of War 3.
A little help? Anyone? Wealthy and dashing philanthropist in need of assistance?
Where are you? No. What?
Those stalkers just left me. That's rather disloyal. Quite insulting.
Ooh. Now, wait a minute. Was this open the whole time and I just missed it? More cinematic. Father-son murder adventure. Squeezing through 50 crevices. God of War 4. Ragnarok. It's like the antithesis of modern game development. Yes. Didn't play Sekiro. Hopefully, maybe this summer. Dude, it's so good. That wasn't a frying pan, believe it or not, Banshee. That was a saw blade. Ow, what the? Descartes' notes? It was rude. I'll give you that. See, look, check it out. Might have put Descartes before the horse. Boo. Yeah, like not to shake my old man cane, but they still don't make them like they used to.
I have to stop them.
I won't argue too much. There are some games that are phenomenal. Venigni. Hello. My name is Pete.
Oh, easy now. No need to kill me. Surely we can discuss this like reasonable people? Hold on. Geppetto's a friend of yours. Did he
Yes.
send you? I'm fine. Please, help me find my butler Pulcinella. He's a puppet and a friend. Those stalkers were supposed to be working for me, but... well, they bolted and left me to my fate. That was not helpful. My butler went to barricade the back door, and I haven't seen him since. Pulcinella has been a loyal companion. I'd hate to lose him. The factory is, of course, my priority. We must take it back. But please, keep an eye out for my butler. I'd consider it a personal favor and owe you in kind. Before all this chaos...
Fuoco.
Fuoco was the puppet in charge of the furnace. But he changed. He was a stand-up fellow once. Now, not so much. I'm told he's still building an army of puppets and marching them on the cathedral. How did this nightmare come to be? Please, you must stop him before he does any more harm.
Alright, Ezio Auditore.
Yeah, Kess,
I'm looking forward to Code Vein 2. I'm looking forward to the new Bloodstains. I'm looking forward to... actually, if I remember right, Valor Mortis, the game that Hugo and I were talking about earlier. Yeah. M rating was hard R rating back in the day. You got minimum one here. F-bombs, gore, bombastic action, heavy sexualized, scantily clad women. Is it the dude? I don't know if the dude at the desk is named Venigni. And now it's like I'm ready because mean words, a character has a drinking problem. Well, alcohol, yeah. Manhunt, a lot of pushed. Well, I don't know that necessarily it's a bad thing. Because they have M, and then they also have, like... No, M rating is 18+. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, we have an ad coming up in 10 seconds. Perfect. I'm actually going to take a quick break so we don't miss anything from the ad to now. So let's just take a quick 3 or 4 minute break and come right back. I'm going to drop a super lore and come back to chat. So you don't have to worry about breaking the conversation. Guys, keep it up. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Take a quick break. Be right back. And scene.
Okay. Phantom Blade Zero? I don't remember what that one is.
Yeah, you go. I understand your opinion on that. I heard the biggest problem with 2 was that it was just too short. It was fun, but it was just too short. I did not get cake. Sorry. Why not? Because I don't have cake. I had pretzels. Yeah, pretzels. I'll get some cake later. Now, the Killmonger hairstyle... another one of these guys? That was cool. Alright, let's not just trade with this guy. This is what we call an industry a bonk. Yes. Yes. Ooh, hold on. I got inventory. Okay, so this gives me more damage reduction, more fire damage reduction, but I lose some blitz and acid. I gain fire resist. Oh. But I lose a ton of acid resist. Can enhance resistance to overheat. I mean, I guess I can use that for now, because everything here is fire. Yeah. The Adidas look. But yeah, I mean, like... Ow. Oh, there you are. Most of the complaints that I heard about Spider-Man 2 were just that the game was too short. Like, overall, that's what I heard. Actually, the sentiment for Spider-Man 2... on YouTube dive of people having negative opinions of movies and the games I like, and I went to see why they had gripes. Well, I'm like, yeah, I can see your point. I think we have to give them a leeway for some to be enjoyable. I mean, there's the other thing is that a lot of people also have this idea that if it's not perfect, it's not good enough. And I'm kind of sick of that. I won't lie. There's a part of me that's really sick of that. Now, I'm not saying the game should be made, you know, like garbage, but no, I'm not saying that one bit. But I am saying that perfect doesn't need to be the standard. Fun and good needs to be the standard. Not every single person out there is a video game reviewer that has to give their opinion on a game to be like, oh, this game is garbage, this game is crap, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, if you give a critique, fine. You can give an honest critique. That's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. You're the one that paid for the game. You're allowed an opinion because you paid for it, played it, did whatever, spent time on it. But all these negative reviews just to get people to click on, okay, why is it bad? Like, people want things to fail anymore, it seems like. Warning, beware when handling corrosive chemicals. Be careful not to melt your fingers. That's actually helpful. I was easily able to get 100% my first run. I was like, what? I loved it, though. My range of acceptable games is 7 to 10, 10 to 10. There are tons of 7s. Anything under that quality should be lower priced. Oh. Venigni is a jerk. I want to make as much as Venigni's butler puppet does. Where did I go? Oh yeah, right there. I guess I find it hard to be able to price a game based off its performance. You know? Does that make any sense? When it comes to Spider-Man 2, I gave it a fair praise because the game is a technical marvel. Nice pun. Always. All right, let's do this. Oh, yes. Oh, I got it. I'm gonna go past her being short because he's a development land. Oh, you're way cooler than I thought you were gonna be. King Flame Fuoco. I like this boss. I don't like that. Oh, no, 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 like the boss. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I'm okay with this. Okay, that's actually really cool. That is cool. Alright, come on, Fuoco. Let's go. Oh, that's not okay. That's not okay either. Alright, we're down to one tap. 2, 3. Woo! Good attack there. The oil can. Sadness. That was so fast. These guys do have the Rock'em Sock'em Robots feel. Yes. I got lit. Okay, I think I know how I want to fight this guy now. I was a little too... I had the perfect pacing in the beginning. I got a little too aggressive in the second part. And took some unnecessary hits. If I hadn't taken those 2 hits and had to use 2 heals, I would have first attempt killed that guy. Alright, Fuoco, let's do this again. Okay. I was waiting for Deus Ex Remaster to come out, and I forgot it was delayed indefinitely. It was supposed to come out next month. I bet that would have been a good time. Just out of curiosity. Oh my goodness, 12 more damage. Oh, wait. No, I really like this weapon because it's got fire on it. Oh, whoop. Alright, well, here we go. Alright, Fuoco, let's do this. Alright. Oh, I thought I had to sidestep on that. See, this is where I'm getting a little cocky. So this is where I messed up right here. That's bad. Ouch. Bruh. Shoot those. I guess not. Oh. I don't want him to break all those. I'm afraid that I'm actually going to fail if he breaks them all. I wish I knew what he was saying. Like, I don't want someone to tell me what he's saying. I wish I knew. I also really like that effect on the ground. Giving me the winning lotto numbers. Come on, go. Oh, wow. Use your magic number. High-powered amplifier. Wait. What? Is this a one-time use? Or is that a permanent upgrade? Yeah, I've seen
his backlog. It's nuts, Banshee. The first UX usually goes for $1. Can just launcher, it's easy to install. Someone telling me yesterday, going on all the classics. I'm like, dude, I'm an OG. I've always been on the classic. Just because I have a warehouse of backlog doesn't mean I haven't played and beat a vast majority of all the bangers of the century. That's true. I think part of me hitting middle age is less me wanting latest and greatest and more appreciating the classics and things I have. It's a good mindset to have. It's a great place to be. Yeah, Kess's backlog is so large it's color-coded. I wish I was kidding. Hello.
I'll use my power to help.
I'll play Halo another 20 times, but I only need to finish Mad Max game once. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'll take that to 10. Thanks.
Alphabetical by platform. Madam? Oh. You're
People
fine.
have no idea so many secrets are buried in Krat. Thanks for keeping me company. What are you curious about?
Oh. I've already asked you stuff. Oh, do I know more piano? I'm assuming there's some kind of memory things you have to unlock to get that to play further. No, she's the owner of the hotel.
So I think there's a limit on the amount of media and content we can comfortably consume.
Remember, I didn't design every puppet in Krat. It is not surprising that some puppets broke away from the Grand Covenant. I've no idea how many. I remember a few ergo puppets behaving according to their own volition before the frenzy. That wasn't our intention. They were never designed to act that way. But if a puppet starts acting on its own, does that mean the puppet has free will? Or is someone else controlling the puppet? The city of Krat asked me...
Okay, your buddy's back. Venigni's back. He is saved. It is, in a way, it is kind of like a mansion. It's just a massive hotel. Here. I'm in the front courtyard. So yeah, it's rather large.
Ah, if it isn't my savior. Glad.
Bonjour,
Hey.
and welcome to the House of Venigni. I am Master Venigni's Major Domo, Pulcinella, at your service, sir. The House of Venigni carries only the finest in luxury merchandise. I believe you'll find all items to be both superior quality and distinguished provenance. I am certain you will be able to find something that suits you, sir. At the House of Venigni, even priceless things have a price. Every item is a treasure of distinguished quality and superior provenance.
Let's see what you got.
Have fun storming the castle.
Okay, that's gonna be nice. Thank you.
There you are, my boy. My savior, yes, that's the word. You took back the factory, and I cannot thank you enough. Without the factory, no more new puppets. The army has run out of recruits. My friend, you saved, well, all of us. Ah, but listen to me going on and on about my concerns, and I don't believe I've even introduced myself. Signor Lorenzini Venigni. Gentleman, bon vivant, and, at the moment, utterly at your service, my friend. If the name Venigni rings no bells, perhaps you've heard of Krat's Prince of High Society. That is because they are one and the same. Just two of the many names I've collected in my 3 decades here on Earth. While I sincerely believe meeting Venigni is its own reward, I have not rewarded you in the more traditional manner. Please, take this. My newest prototype. It'll be safe with you. It's a grinder stone that keeps granting special attributes to the grinder. I hope you'll put it to good use.
Special grindstone on a grinder throughout. Through Venigni or a Stargazer, there are different types of special grindstones that grant different special effects. Cool! Alright, if you think about it, would you choose to own every single game, movie, or book that you've ever liked, or just prefer a curated selection of your all-time favorites? We have access to more media than any generation ever has, but I honestly think in order to appreciate it, we have to pick and choose what we like the best. I mostly think about the movie selection my parents and sister had when I was growing up. The majority of the time, we watched the same 5 to 10 movies throughout my childhood.
Felicitous salutations, my friends. My name is Signor Lorenzini Venigni. No doubt my reputation precedes me. I come to you with only the most peaceful intentions, and as a true friend of Krat. Behold, Venigni Works, where we will honor the city of Krat's history while forging her brilliant future. When I broke ground on this place, we broke ground. I certainly didn't do it all personally. This was simply empty space, a blank canvas. But in the hands of a maestro, it became a work of art. All my life, from boyhood to this very day, I have been derided for my, let's say, single-minded focus on a lifelong obsession with building animated, automatic, autonomous automata. But today, just look before you. Venigni Works is ready to start building the future. Krat's golden era is waiting to be built. A dream of the future we can only create together. Help me make this future come true. Join us, for this moment in history will happen only once. Join Venigni, your friend for life.
Okay, I don't know, Hugo. Because I didn't have that same experience.
I know my way around a weapon.
Sure, we watched, movies over and over again, but
Just one moment. Is that not my Legion arm?
not anymore. But I don't know. I'm totally putting fire on that.
Then my eyes do not deceive me. I never imagined I'd actually see it again, and in the flesh, so to speak. I just designed it, set it aside, and never got back to it. Genius and acclaim can keep one quite preoccupied, I'm afraid. You are really interested in the arm, I see. Then, my friend, you shall have it. It just needs a few mechanical adjustments to fit your, particular needs. And frankly, this design is almost child's play to me now, so let's start by making it a bit stronger, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
I will also add what we brilliant inventors call modularity. That means it will be much easier to improve and repair since you'll be able to use commonly found parts. You might say this arm's new abilities are, Legion. No? Too much? It was too much. I always welcome friends.
Uh-huh.
At the House of Venigni.
Let's see here. It's for slash attacks. It's for strike, piercing. I don't know. I think over time people are conditioned to leave the past in the past and they stop playing older games, watching older movies, make room for new stuff, which makes sense, but I guess I'm so caught up in reliving my glory days, I'm less attracted to newer games and shows. Legion arm, Legion plug. What? Hold up! What? Huh, Deus Ex Machina. Acid. Oh, the shield. That's cool. It's a pistol! Yeah, but this is fire. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, have a thing. Yoink. Oh, that's nice. Oh, it even looks cool. It actually matches my armor really well. My armor. As a 36-year-old adult, I still don't understand how people gravitate towards some shows because I feel like the premise is so boring. It depends on what it is. Generation is onwards is a tighter grip. Wait, I'll say my generation onwards has a tighter grip or attachment to nostalgia. Cass, by the way. The hotel. It'd be interesting to look at. Cass, there's your hotel. Massive, isn't it? Just massive. Looks creepy.
Because the reason why I say that is I feel like there's any and every generation has nostalgia. They like to look back on things. I went through a Combat Evolved on Heroic again, and man, it ate your lunch. Been here. I don't understand why it has that. I love the teleport animation in this, by the way. It's pretty. Boom. Called it. Fire canister? Alright, we gotta test out this new arm. That is so satisfying. So, I like the flamethrower, but I want to do more damage. I mean, granted, I have not spec'd into Legion Arm damage. I kind of wish there was a way to recharge it, like, easier. Like, you know, some games have the ability to recharge from, like, just dealing damage. I kind of wish you could do that. I've also been watching YouTubers first play Halo and my other favorite games. It's been so nice to see them get into it. Alrighty, it's time for me to go hang out with Kirby Dreamland. Are you taking a nap? My complaints, they play with the anniversary visuals. Well, I mean, if they don't have the original, like, nostalgia, there's nothing to pull them into it. You know? Good night, Vac. Sleep well, dude. That was the joke. That was the joke, buddy. Yeah, I don't have to be up at 5:30 tomorrow, so it's 10 o'clock here, so but tomorrow I work 1 to 10-ish. Probably about 10:30 before I leave work. First, the original visuals are better consistency across the games. But could it also be that it's also what you're used to? No reason a pitchfork should do that much damage. Oh yeah, buddy, now we're talking. Okay. do access management, so I have a chill day.
Yeah, but you probably report to an office too, don't you? I'm being a purist about it. It's not necessarily, you know, being a purist, man, as so much as it is like, you know, you know what you enjoy, and you know what you like to see. Nope, 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 nope. Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays I'm home. Nice. Oh, I died. Then I guess going to work 2 days a week wouldn't be bad.
H1A is curiously different. Feels like a mod almost. Man, yeah, it would. I miss working remote. I also miss having a steady schedule instead of having one that changes every day. I think I just want people to have the same or a similar experience to what I had.
And that's probably the most accurate way you're going to be able to explain that. Is that way. But who knows, for them, they may never even attempt the game if they couldn't have the experience that they're having now. It's also kind of comforting to see someone struggle in the same area that you did. Yeah, something else too, like some of these remakes make the games easier because of a change. For example, lighting. Something is brighter and you're like, man, they can see the problem. Like this thing killed me like 6 times or whatever. Like, and they just walk right through it because they could see it. Ugh. Like, I understand that too.
Wait for the campaign to evolve, but at the same time wish they had
poured over more of the...
Wait.
What do you mean just poured over the Master Chief Collection? No. Hi, turtle. Big pipe. Oh, this is a big ol'... That's a big ol' blunt tool there. Happy MLK Day. I still had to work.
Getting campaign evolved, which is annoying 5. Halo 1 with some quality of life improvements. I see what you mean. I'm sorry. I was not following you at all. Now I understand. Yeah. I would have preferred it if they just poured over the Master Chief Collection instead. I understand. Hey, look, Dark Moon, Moonstone of the Covenant. We know what that's for. Let's just try some. Ow. Yeah, 6 games are... Yeah, 6 games in 1 is still never better than a really nice looking game. Fair. Got home late, brought your stream up, then I had to go take a bath. You're good! Dang it. Oh, this guy's kicking my face in. Yep. Alright, now I gotta play super careful. Oh, I dodged so late. I even had a heal. No. Man. I do too. I think he looks good. The antlers are my wife's doing. Not mine. Because if it was my choice, I would just have them off. Or I probably would have them off. It's turned into a Dead Space situation where they have really good remaster remake, but it doesn't hit sales expectations, so they scrap remaking other games. It's still so weird to me that PlayStation is getting Halo. I'm not mad about it, it's just weird. Got me again. Didn't Dead Space get like killer reviews though too? Oh, what a beautiful toss.
park there. Yeah, see, that's ridiculous. There's no reason that should do that much damage. Alright. You know what? Dork. That I didn't do. Blow myself up with a barrel. That was smart. A bit mixed on whether I'd prefer the whole remake or remastering on something versus an anthology of games being preserved in their original look. I think it depends. It really depends on what it is. Oh, that was close. That was way too close. I really gotta watch how much damage I take from this guy. Because I keep trading that stupid attack. Ah, fall for that time. Fell for it that time. Alright, let's actually get the crit on this one. There we go. Ugh. Oh, whoops. Ad break. Perfect. This perfect. Perfect. I think I want more stamina. Do like this one a lot. Yeah. Of course, this technique. Oh, really? Let's advance. Damage. Welcome back, guys. Debating if I want to go ahead since we've got a new spot here, or if this is like the perfect spot to end.
Bodies? Could they be from Moonlight Town? Whoa, did puppets do this?
So yeah, we'll do that. We're gonna wait. We're gonna do that right here. This is a great spot to begin the next stream. It's perfect. Oh. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're gonna end it there. Guys, great conversations tonight. I really appreciate it. I do. They were good. Tut, Hugo, Princess, Kess, Banshee, Peril, Turtle. Let's see here. Vac. Is anybody else? Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. I have no problems with it. Well, I haven't played the Pixel one. The one that I played was the 3D remake. Final Fantasy IV is like my favorite, but them doing a Pixel remaster, that's fine. You're welcome, Turtle. You're welcome. I do appreciate all you guys being here, hanging out for so long. Nice. Congrats on the catch. You got 1 through 6. That's great. Wait. Excuse me, sorry. We have every night. Thanks for stream. Yeah, you're welcome, Tut. I do like the SNES look. I have Final Fantasy IV on cartridge, and I do really like it. And if you don't have emotes, it's totally fine. Give me 4 seconds. There you go. Thanks, Hugo. Thanks for hanging out tonight, man. I really appreciate it. I do. Thank you all. Have a good night. Love you. Mean it. Heads up, there won't be a stream this Thursday because I have... well, no, there might be. I think I work 10 to 7. I think Thursday, I think I work 10 to 7. I can't remember. No, I close. I think I work 1 to 10 on Thursday. So there won't be a stream Thursday. I will say I'm getting really tired of my schedule being all over the place. Yeah. Anyway, I like my job. I just wish I had stable hours. Anyway, love you guys. Mean it. See you soon. Bye.